Hey everybody. Welcome to my channel, I Just Read It. Today I have some stories that I hope you enjoy. If you like this channel and the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and click on the notification button. Thanks. I appreciate every one of you. Am I the A-hole? Story number 1. Posted by u/Adenaked twin. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my identical twin for selling nudes online? Basically, what the title says. To give some backstory, my sister, 23-year-old female, and I, 23-year-old female, were kicked out by our parents at the age of 18 and we have been living in an apartment together with a roommate ever since. My sister doesn't have a steady job at the moment, so I have been handling her portion of the rent on the apartment. A few weeks ago, she approached me and told me that she found a source of income and would likely be able to start paying for rent soon. I didn't ask too many questions when she told me this because I was just happy that she finally found a job. However, I was talking to our roommate 2 nights ago and found out that my sister started an OnlyFans account and has been selling naked pictures/videos of herself. Now, I am very sex positive and forward thinking. I have nothing against sex workers, but she is my identical twin. We look exactly alike in almost every way. I personally do not feel comfortable sharing my body online to strangers. On top of that, I am trying to start a professional career for myself and I don't want employers/coworkers to find this and think that it is me. I confronted my sister when she got home later that night and told her that I will not be speaking to her until she deletes the account and that she would have to move out of the apartment. She was pretty mad about this and stormed out of the apartment and ended up sleeping at a mutual friend's house for the last 2 nights. I have talked to our roommate and some friends about this and they think that I overreacted. Am I the a-hole here? Here are some comments. Secondhand Hearts posted. I completely understand your concerns, but you cannot dictate what she does online simply because she looks like you. It sucks, but that's the reality of it. Soft, you're the a-hole. Aw234 replied to Secondhand Hearts. If they were not identical, I would agree with you, but her sister's actions could affect OP. I saw another Am I the a-hole post where a woman was harassed by a man in a grocery store because her twin was camming. Tex Fiend posted. Not the a-hole. Her actions could directly fuck up your career in the future. But there's nothing you can realistically do to stop her. So, start thinking about ways you can differentiate your appearance from hers. Different hairstyles, if they're similar at the moment. Maybe a tattoo somewhere a little hidden, but that you could show people if you needed to. At this point, in your position, I might even start saving for a nose job, my opinion. Not the a-hole. There was a Friends episode where Phoebe's twin Ursula was doing pornography under Phoebe's name. Obviously, that is all fiction, but realistically that would be the reaction most women would have to find out their twin sister is degrading her name and or image. The OP posted an update. Update, am I the a-hole for kicking out my identical twin for selling nudes online? Hey y'all. So a while back I made a post about how my twin sister started an OnlyFans and I was considering kicking her out of our apartment. In that post it was determined that I was the asshole. A lot has happened since then, so I decided to make an update. After reading your comments, I decided that I probably took it too far and although I was embarrassed and felt violated, at the end of the day, it is her body and not mine. Just because we look the same does not mean I get to have a say, nor should it affect our relationship. So, I called her and told her I wanted to talk, and we had a really long emotional discussion and I obviously decided to not kick her out as long as she was able to cover her rent going forward. Then, COVID happened. And as of June, I no longer have a job. I was one of the newest people at the company I was working for and so I was one of the first to go. And in a turn of events, my sister who has been killing it on OnlyFans, is now covering for my portion of the rent until I am able to get back on my feet. So, thank you for your advice. I might have ruined my relationship with my sister and maybe even be homeless without it. Am I the a-hole? Story number 2. Posted by u/Patience OK1549. Am I the a-hole for refusing pay for college for a child I have no legal obligation to anymore? For the sake of length, I'll try to stick to the facts and keep it brief. I, 50-year-old male, legally had 3 children with my ex, 51, Adam, 23-year-old male, Chris, 21-year-old male, and Sophie, 18-year-old female. Biologically the first 2 children are mine and youngest is the result of my wife's infidelity. I discovered this the day when Sophie was 2 years old and we had to rush Sophie to the emergency room. I filed for divorce 2 months later. I got 50-50 custody of my own children, but since Sophie was legally mine I had to pay child support for her and was very bitter and resentful about it. I tried to fight it at first but in the end decided to suck it up to save myself the stress, but I made it very clear to my ex that outside of child support I would take no other responsibility for the girl and would shut down any attempts at being her father, but I would make the effort to still be polite to Sophie. After some time, I learned to trust again and remarried a wonderful woman who made it very clear that she and her daughter were a package deal. I accepted this and did everything I could to try and be there for my stepdaughter Katie, 17-year-old female. Aside from the typical ups and downs, I would say I managed to make a great family life for myself. We'd have family nights, I attended most after-school events, took my family on fun vacations and put my sons through school and paid for their apartments and cars. They were on their own for gas money. Chris is expected to graduate this coming summer and I made a silly post on social media about how relieved I was going to be that I only had one more kid to put through school left. A couple of days later I got a message from my ex asking me to pay for Sophie's college expenses on my own since the pandemic has made money tight. I asked her what she meant and referred to my post, and I reminded her that my legal obligation to Sophie ended the day she turned 18 and that I was talking about Katie. My ex was furious, demanded to know why I was willing to pay for Katie and not Sophie since neither of them are related to me. I countered by saying that I knew upfront Katie wasn't my biological child and agreed to care for her instead of being conned into doing it like I was for Sophie. After that I got a call from Sophie asking what she did to make me hate her so much and to leave her feeling so excluded. I told her softly that I don't hate her and that nothing about this situation was her fault, but the simple truth is that it wasn't personal, I'm just not her father. Since then my sons have told me that Sophie was becoming really depressed. My ex is blaming me, but I don't see what I have to do with it. Am I the a-hole? Edit, just to be clear because I keep seeing the same questions. The kids know why I divorced their mother. My ex claims that Sophie was the result of a one-night stand and doesn't know who her father is, which is one of the reasons why I was kept on the hook for CS. After I learned the truth, I was very angry and didn't think I could handle raising a child that I was tricked into caring for, so I decided to keep my distance. Just because Sophie wasn't mine and I treated as such doesn't mean that I was horrible to the girl. I also made sure that my children knew that what happened between their mother and me was not Sophie's fault and they should never be mean to her. Interesting_Forever2 posted. It also sounds like she did know that Sophie was not his. She only had her secret exposed when Sophie had to go to the hospital. The fact that the kids do know why they divorced, I have a suspicion that Sophie understands that he did pay child support and didn't treat her any differently than her brothers, but he has no financial obligation to help pay for college. The ex-wife is simply trying to have OP financially take care of someone else's child rather owning up to this mess being her fault. Leonhardt Taylor posted. Exactly, this sort of thing is literally every man's worst nightmare. Ops lucky he was still in his early 30s when he found out. He was able to rebuild and go on with his life. If he had been older, then that's like having your life stolen from you, all the best and most important years of your life spent with a person who betrayed you in such a way. Then you're left to pick up the pieces when you're no longer young, can't do a lot of things anymore and have extremely bleak dating prospects. People need to stop acting like this kind of shit isn't life-ruining, Tatty Cakes replied. There's a great chapter in Call the Midwife, set in 1950s London for context, about white women having brown babies. The first woman was freaking out, telling her mother and the midwives that they can't let her husband in for the delivery because the baby is going to be brown and he'll kill them both, and they needed to get rid of the baby before he saw it. Thankfully the baby was white and nobody said a word to the husband. Second one, the baby was born clearly mixed race and the father was furious. The baby was taken away for adoption straight away. But the third one was an older widower father who got together with a widowed wife and were lucky enough to get pregnant, and the baby was clearly mixed race, but he didn't say a word and just threw himself into loving his son and being a dedicated doting father. Everyone around him could see the boy wasn't his. Was he really that stupid that he couldn't see it, or was he just going along with it because what other choice did he have? But he had the most loving relationship with that boy. Different strokes for different folks. Holodeck Disco replied. Seriously. It's clear the mom is a real piece of work by the fact she told her daughter all this stuff. Mom was 100% behind that phone call. She told Sophie OP hates you. Who could do that to their own child? I feel awful for Sophie, but he needs to detangle himself from this woman once and for all. His relationship with his stepdaughter is both completely irrelevant and totally understandable. He is married to her mom. He is her dad. This all checks out. Edit, meta note, something wild happened in this thread because everyone is referencing the You're the A-hole comments, but all the You're the A-hole posts are extremely downvoted. Was the cheating committee hanging out when this was first posted or what? So, what do you all think? Post in the comments if you feel story number 1 is/isn't an a-hole or story number 2 is/isn't an a-hole.